Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, host of Ross Tucker Football Podcast. He hosts the Eagles preseason as their color analyst. He is a very busy man. He'll be on the call, the Chiefs and the Ravens Sunday Night Football in Westwood One, and he joins us now. Was that one of those that the Raiders won or the Ravens lost, as we like to ask that question, Ross?
Oh man, Dan, I'll give the Raiders credit because it felt like they won it a couple times. So I'll say the Raiders won it, but there's no question that Lamar Jackson's fumbles were the difference in the game, and it felt like the Ravens were really in pretty darn good shape other than those fumbles, but that's a big part of it. That's a big part of Lamar Jackson as a player. It's a big part of the football game and the way the Raiders played. I was just so impressed because I thought there were a bunch of times when the Raiders could have laid down, were going to lay down, and the Ravens would take it away. I don't know. I've seen the stat. It was like 80 times in a row the Ravens had won or something like that when they had a 14-point lead. So give the Raiders a lot of credit to come back against a very good defense down 2 scores like that.
Are you sold on Derek Carr? Are you a Derek Carr guy?
I am sold that Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback. I am sold that Derek Carr is a starting quarterback. And I think most people probably realize now, Dan, you can get into this debate, but if you have a top 20 quarterback, and I believe Derek Carr is that, right? Somewhere probably between 12 and 20, depending on how he's playing. I think you hold on to those guys for dear life. Because if you have one of the worst 5 to 10, you really don't have a shot. If you have Derek Carr, you have a chance to go to the playoffs. You have a chance to go to the playoffs and win multiple playoff games. Do I think he's a Super Bowl championship quarterback? Well, I mean, if Nick Foles won one, yes. If Jimmy Garoppolo should have won one a couple years ago, then yes. But you have to have a really good team around him.
You're acting like a lawyer here. You're making a case for your client. That's what it sounded like. Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Are you passionate about Derek Carr as your quarterback?
No, I don't think I am. Although, you know what? I really liked what he said last night after the game about his offensive line, about the defense. He kind of got me passionate about him as a guy, maybe more than him as a quarterback. With that post-game interview, what he said about Zay Jones, 6 a.m., Derek Carr kind of got me fired up after the game. You know what Derek Carr, you know what category he goes into, Dan? Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins, a lot of these guys, they go into the category of, man, you'd rather have him than a bunch of other guys, but you'd always rather have somebody better. I don't know what, I think I started like 25 games, Dan, in my career over 5, whatever, how many years it was. I got the distinct impression every time I was playing that the team I was on would really rather have somebody better out there. Like I didn't lose the game for them. But they really would rather if there was somebody. It's hard to watch Derek Carr Monday night after you watch the ridiculous throw that Mahomes made to Tyreek Hill to give the Chiefs that win against the Browns. It's hard to watch some of these guys and the plays they make and not, as a fan, be like, oh, I want that. I want that guy. Cousins is fine. Carr is fine, but I want that guy for my team.
We're talking to Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman. We believe he started 25 games in his NFL career. Lamar Jackson, I can give you a highlight of unbelievable stuff, and then I can give you another highlight tape that is bad stuff there. And having those two in the same game, you're just, you help your team win, but you help your team lose as well. What do you think the Ravens will try to get Lamar Jackson to do differently against the Chiefs on Sunday night?
Yeah, well, first of all, I can't wait for the game Sunday night. It's going to be awesome. It's a huge game. Obviously, there's 2 things. Number one, he just can't fumble like that. You cannot fumble.
But what's that mean? Of course he can't fumble. He's not trying to.
What it means is take care of the ball better. When you're in that situation, you're not always going to be able to escape. This is not high school anymore. It's not Louisville. You're not always going to be able to make a play. You can't fumble, and he still misses a few layups. So he makes some great throws. I mean, the touchdown to Andrews back of the end zone, he makes some awesome throws, Dan, but he still misses some layups. And I've said the same thing about the Ravens for years now. I think that the Ravens are good enough to win double-digit games, win a playoff game, maybe two, but I don't see him going to the Super Bowl. You got to win 3 games to go to the Super Bowl against good teams, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Browns, whatever. He just doesn't, and maybe not just Lamar, but the passing game, it's just not good enough converting the layups to win 3 playoff games in a row. I feel like the Ravens are in football purgatory. And I'll give you another team, the Seahawks. Seahawks looked great on Sunday, but I don't think they're really good enough to beat Tampa or to go to the Super Bowl. I feel like there's some teams that are in no man's land where they're just going to go to the playoffs and maybe win a game every year, and then that's it. Seattle in the NFC, Baltimore in the AFC.
Okay, but Lamar Jackson's 24. How much more can he improve with his passing? Because it felt like he was really reliant on running because they don't have a running game, and maybe that led to some of these fumbles. But as far as being a pocket passer, because he's going to eventually slow down, and he's going to have to beat you from the pocket a couple of times here.
Well, it's interesting because it felt like they had him do more of that last night than we had seen the last 2 years. Even when he was MVP, it felt like it was more drop back passing from Lamar. Honestly, Dan, I think he probably has a similar career path to Cam Newton. Now, I don't think Lamar takes as much physical punishment as Cam did because Lamar is more of a speed runner than a power runner. But I would not be surprised if they had similar career paths in which Lamar has several more good seasons and the Ravens are in the mix like the Panthers were for a while there. And then eventually, the physical gifts are not enough for him to be able to have sustained play like that in his 30s.
You think this is a 10-year window?
Yeah, and what's wrong with that, by the way?
No,
not everybody's breeze. 10 years, I mean, you have an MVP caliber quarterback for 10 years. That's awesome.
The biggest surprise of week 1 was what?
Probably the Packers playing that poorly. I mean, I picked the Texans to win, so I can't say them. I picked the Eagles to win, so I can't say them. I did not think the Packers would come out there and play that poorly. But I'll say this, Dan, that I have no idea why they fired Mike Pettin. They were a top 10 defense the second half last year. They bring in Joe Barry, who's never coordinated better than like the 28th ranked defense in 4 or 5 years. Yeah. I mean, you know how much variance there is on defense. 4 or 5 years, never better than like 28th. And they looked like they gave up 38 points to Jameis Winston. Could have been more. And then offensively, boy, I know they got some O-line issues with Bakhtiari out, but they did not look very good. And I'm sorry, but Rodgers did not look to me like he had the same edge he had last year. I mean, last year, Rodgers, you could almost sense he was out to prove something to the world. He was mad about the Jordan Love pick. Now he just looks to me like he looks like a yoga instructor, like at the beach. He doesn't look like he's mad and trying to prove something wrong to anybody anymore.
He looks like he could be my sensei, You're like,
yeah, he looks very zen. I don't know if zen's good.
Great to talk to you as always, bud. Safe travels, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great.
That's Ross Tucker. Ross Tucker, the former NFL offensive lineman, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. And he's going to be doing Westwood 1, the Chiefs and the Ravens on Sunday night.